Town Square Family Foot Care is here for the little things like ingrown toenails, the common things like diabetic foot care, and the serious things like ulcers and surgery. Keep your family active and happy with healthy feet. Online scheduling and evening appointments available. Call 341-FOOT and visit 341foot.com.
From your friends at Henry's Painting, thank you and best wishes for a happy holiday season and a new year of health and happiness. The season's best from Henry's Painting.
Hey, Hawkeye fans. This is Iowa Wrestling National Champion Spencer Lee. Thank you for your support and congrats on being named #1 attendance again last year. Carver Hawkeye Arena is always wild during wrestling season, and it's because of you. Check out HawkeyeSports.com or call 1-800-IA-HAWKS for ticket information.
The Sycamore Mall is now the Iowa City Marketplace. It's the home of Lucky's Market, Joann Fabrics, Four Seasons, the Hobby Corner, and much, much more. Lucky's Market features fresh organic produce, fresh meat and seafood, an incredible bakery, an amazing beer and wine selection, and so much more. Check out Lucky's Cafe with an incredible salad bar, signature sandwiches, fresh soups, and New York-style pizza so good, it'll make you talk with your hands. And you can sip and stroll. $3 glasses of wine and $2 pints of delicious craft beer while you shop. Check them out online at luckysmarket.com for Lucky's weekly specials, including 10% off fresh produce every Sunday. The Sycamore Mall is now the Iowa City Marketplace. Live life, live healthy. Lucky's Market Sip and Stroll. Iowa City Marketplace, Sycamore Mall. From your friends at DNR Pest Control comes this sincere holiday wish. May happiness brighten your holidays and remain with you throughout the new year. Warmest season's greetings from DNR Pest Control.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Hertine and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny here this afternoon. We'll get to about 34 for a high today. Wind out of the southwest at 5 to 15. Tonight, partly cloudy this evening, then mostly cloudy after midnight tonight. We'll drop down to 23. Thursday, sunshine, high of 28. On Friday, sunny, a little cooler, high of 25. And then through the weekend, plenty of sunshine with highs in the low 30s both Saturday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 23.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart Plaza in Iowa City, Coralville's Hy-Vee. AllHawkeyes.com is brought to you by Premier Auto in North Liberty. Hit a deer, call Premier. Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Our friend Steve Anderson and his crew over there. GT Car, Supple Siding and Remodeling. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars. 1-800-800-ROSE, the Supple family. Active Endeavors on downtown Iowa City. Zephyr's Printing and Design and Imprinted Ink on the Ped Mall. Big Dog TV and Internet. Don't call an 800 number. Call Big Dog, 338-6600. And Dirk Sterner, Taxidermy. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Michael Suter, and from AllHawkeyes.com, Pat Harty.
Thank you for that heartfelt introduction, Mr. Hunter.
I try to do my best.
And I teared up.
You guys doing well this morning? Having a good show?
Doing pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting through it.
Yeah.
Showing you can survive without Captain Steve?
Yes. We're during the times when we're not on camera, we're sobbing uncontrollably at our desks. But we're doing
Is this like playing without LeBron?
Yeah.
Kind of?
Yeah, kind of.
Not a direct parallel, but
yeah, our we're not bringing the A game.
Is it kind of like trying to pressure the quarterback without A.J. Epinesa?
You might get there, but it's perhaps not your best
Whereas
lineup.
if Captain was here, you know you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Is that what it comes
So
down
are
to?
you saying he's more AJ than Parker
LeBron?
Hesse?
Parker Hesse's more well-rounded at
This
this
is
stage.
true.
He was probably their most...
I would probably be the Parker Hesse of KCJJ. Steve, maybe AJ Epinesa.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Jim?
Jim's Nate Stanley.
Yeah. I'm brilliant at times with periods of mediocrity.
That sounds about right, doesn't it?
There you go.
Just good enough to keep my job.
So what are we going to talk about today? Big game tomorrow.
Haven't talked about the basketball from Monday night.
That's right. We haven't, have we?
I was certainly hoping that you were going to be right.
Right about what?
That you thought we had a good chance.
I did.
Maybe we did.
I remember I said I thought Michigan State would win, but I wouldn't be surprised
Yes.
if Iowa lost, and I never imagined it would be But then right away the spin was, well, we lose this way all the time. Well, that still doesn't make it any better.
No.
I mean, it just was so similar to last year.
And that's the problem.
The script, the defense was just horrible. The offense wasn't. I think. Well, what happened was the offense wasn't. Once the offense started to struggle about midway through the first half, they missed a couple shots. They had to really start working. It seems like when their offense struggles, then this time, like last year, they let it really impact what they did on defense. I mean, I couldn't believe how many just low post positions, and you could see it. Okay, I almost was wondering, like, okay, maybe they'll get a 3-second in the lane call. They were camped down there, and then eventually they'd throw it in there. They'd turn around and just lay it into the basket.
We just had no answer for Ward whatsoever.
None.
He did whatever he wanted to do.
He could go left, right. There was never any double
Nope.
team. When they did
Nope.
double team, the guy who got doubled was wide open because there was no shift. It just, they reverted. That was my lead. They reverted back to last year.
Yeah.
I mean, with a lot of bad help defense, just no communication. And Cassius Winston got to the lane and passed our first line of defense anytime he wanted.
Effortlessly.
And that's just when everything broke down, and it was just not a good look. But I will say, it's 2 games. It's not, it's, I don't want to overreact because the season is certainly not. There's somebody saying that this Iowa State game is going to set the tone for the season. No, it's not. They could beat Iowa State and then lose their next 2 Big Ten games, and that Iowa State game is going to mean nothing. Or they could lose to Iowa State, win their next 2 Big Ten games, and that Iowa State game is going to mean nothing. I mean, you got to.
It's one game.
You can't start saying 9 games into a 30-some game schedule that this game's going to basically set the tone. No, you can't. But they need to win. They just need to get a win.
We do. And we've, as bad as the defense was against Michigan State, we have got to shoot better. We're not going to beat anybody shooting the way we have.
Well, they got to get. I mean,
Wisconsin and Michigan.
Jordan's got to start. Jordan's got to start shooting better. He knows it. He even said the other day he's pissed off. He's not sure what it is. He's been taking extra practice, and I think eventually he will get it. But they got to shoot better, not just the other guys. I mean, all the other guys. I mean, Garza's got to get out of his funk. Tyler Cook scored 15, but how many of those were at the end useless? I mean, during the heat of battle, he didn't really deliver much offensively.
No, he didn't.
So it was just a bad game that you hope was an aberration, like you hope last season was an aberration.
But you fear that it wasn't.
Well, you fear that it wasn't because they've already lost at home to a good Wisconsin team, but not an incredible Wisconsin team. And a Wisconsin team that struggled to beat Rutgers at home the other night. So that's my concern. Iowa hasn't really beaten anyone. Last I looked, Oregon was 4-3, had just lost again. Connecticut got beat the other night at home by an average Arizona team by Arizona standards.
Pitt got beat by Niagara.
Pitt got beat by a 1-4 Niagara team. So really, I'm beginning to wonder if everybody, the whole system of ranking and looking at teams, if everybody got carried away with Iowa.
And everybody else carried away with who we played.
Yes, and true. Yeah, it all feeds into it. So now maybe we're seeing the real team, but they just need to win Thursday. That's all, and that I guarantee you, that's all Fran's going to say today. Fran has a press conference today at 2, and he's going to talk about all that matters is this Iowa State game. That stuff's in the past. It's unfortunate, but we got to beat Iowa State. And if they beat Iowa State, everybody will feel a lot better. They're 7-2. They've got some cupcakes. They've got
three
of those. You know, you get that 7. The next thing you got 10 wins because there are 3 games they're not going to lose. It's Savannah State and stuff like that. And then they do have Northern Iowa.
Is Bryant one of them?
I think Bryant is one of them, and I think it's just him by himself, just a guy named Bryant.
He's good.
He's coming here.
He used to be.
He's coming here in mid-December, some guy. I think
it's
he's
Bryant Gumbel, actually.
He's just coming by himself, and he's got a game scheduled with Iowa.
Does he play a man defense? Or
I think he just stands in the lane, and I just wondered, would you be concerned if this guy came by himself and was able to get just open looks all over against Iowa's defense?
Get penetration?
Yeah, just by himself.
Just coming in his street clothes.
But if they beat Iowa State and Northern Iowa and win those others, they could have 11 non-conference wins, and then that 0-2 doesn't look as bad. But at some point, you got to start working on that 0-2 again. I mean, that's the big thing. They're 0-2, and like I said before, three of their last four Big Ten games are at Ohio State, at Wisconsin, and at Nebraska. I'm guessing they're going to lose all 3 of those games, or at least 2, wouldn't you?
I would,
just by common sense.
I would imagine so, but
I mean, you never know. But what I'm saying though is they've already have 2 losses. Then you throw those in there, and if they lose, I mean, they've just 0-2 is just not good. And as bad as they looked, it just brought back a lot of bad memories from last season.
And then after when the Big Ten season picks back up, we start off at Purdue, which is brutal.
Yes, brutal, but Purdue is not as good as Purdue's been the last couple
we
years.
could win
Purdue
that.
is vulnerable. I think Purdue's looking for a season where they may be an NIT team this year.
And then we have Nebraska at home,
Tough.
which is a must-win.
Nebraska's really good. Nebraska's an NCAA caliber team
Yep.
if they stay healthy. They're not real deep.
And then at Northwestern, a game certainly that we could win.
Well, Northwestern almost beat Michigan last night.
I saw that, 2 points.
I mean, it was an amazing game. I watched it almost from start to finish. I mean, Northwestern had it. Vic Law was incredible. I mean, he had just a veteran leadership, big plays. But Michigan, even games Michigan's maybe not supposed to win, they win. They're just playing with so much confidence. They got this freshman from Canada, this Braden Ixmikas or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid is really good. I'd never heard of him before. I don't really follow recruiting that closely. Kid from Canada, about a 6'8", 6'9", left-handed forward, and my God, he can make shots outside. He can shoot in traffic. He is really good. You throw him in with everything else they got. To me, Michigan is right now clearly the best team in the Big Ten, just from what I've seen early.
Yeah.
What I've seen early. Michigan State, I don't care what they did to Iowa. I still say there's going to be times. I still think that's a team that's going to lose 4 or 5 conference games. And now 15-5 would still be pretty good, but
Sign me up right now.
I don't think that Michigan State team is one of his better teams. Despite what they did to Iowa.
I agree with that, but they're built like Michigan State is a big, huge guy in the middle.
And Iowa kind of caved. I mean, this is the kind of game where Fran threw the chair. Remember when he threw chairs 5 or 6 years ago? I just never really looked like Iowa answered their first punch. And then, of course, losing Wieskamp, that didn't help. And we'll have Fran today. My guess is Fran will stay at Celsor. It's still a game time decision. And with an ankle injury, 2:00 on Wednesday, compared to 5:00 on Thursday. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, so a lot can happen. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I say he doesn't play.
I would agree.
And if he does play, he'll be limited. But then after this, they get 9 days off. Because I don't think do you have the schedule?
I do.
I don't think their next game's till UNI, is it? Don't they have finals week coming up?
That is correct. So, yes, December 6th is Iowa State, and then they have 9 days off, right?
So, I mean, you'd love to have Wieskamp play, but if he's sore at all with that big open window, I mean, like I said, I'm guessing he wouldn't play, but we'll see. I mean, ankles, I mean, he did walk off the floor on his own weight. Granted, he was in a lot of pain, but they didn't have to carry him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we shall see. At least it's not broken. It doesn't look like anything is torn. So, because like Fran said on his radio show last night, that it's still sore. It's day to day.
Well, Lord knows we can't afford to lose Joe for any.
Well, no,
extended
especially
period of
since
time.
Nunzi's redshirting and Cordell's out. I mean, you lose Wieskamp, you're down to about 8 players, which is ironic because everyone's always made fun of Fran for playing so many players. I mean, and now this could be, and Iowa State's roster is getting bigger.
Mhm.
They're adding players now. They're still not going to have Wigginton, it doesn't look like, but
they got everybody else
they've
back.
got Solomon Young back. Is he going to play for sure?
Well, maybe not.
They do have Lard back, and that makes a big difference. And Iowa State,
I've seen both ways with Young.
It's going to be an interesting game. And tonight we've got the Iowa women playing over at Carver against Iowa State, and Megan Gustafson with a chance, as I heard you guys talking about coming in, a chance to break 2 big records. And what does she need? Rebounds?
4.
Just needs 4, and then she's hit almost at 2,000 points.
She'll have 4 in the first quarter,
I think
probably.
she usually gets 2 or 3 rebounds in timeouts. Hell, she'll have 4 by warm-ups. I mean, that's just the 23 points. I think she'll get that, but it'll be interesting. The other story is the Jones girl coming back from City High. Ashley Jones, very good player, coming back. I'm not surprised that she's playing a big role for Iowa State. She's very talented. She's 6 feet tall, but can play like a guard. And I mean, if you're 6 feet tall and you got really versatile skills, that says a lot in women's basketball. I mean, 6 feet tall, it's sort of like being 6'6" in the men's game and versatile. And she is. I mean,
of course, you saw her play a lot.
I saw her play a ton. She's really good. She can make threes. She can drive. She's one of the best high school girls players I've ever seen. She's really good. So, yeah, that'll be a storyline there. And it's a blackout, right? You said blackout drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting started right now.
So you worked that out with the university, right? They're really glad that you're taking this.
I wanted clarification. And they said, yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So if you had to, let's say you just had to wake up one day and your only goal that day was to get blackout drunk. That's all you had to do.
Could I do it?
How would you approach it? What would you do? Would you just start, or would you just open up scotch and just get it over with fast?
Yes.
That would be the way to do it.
Because
I wouldn't do it fast because that would kill you, but
that's the best way to
you
go
think,
blackout.
I mean, to have to wake up knowing that your only thing you had to do that day was to get, that doesn't sound real fun, does it?
No.
I don't think that would have been fun 30 years ago. I don't know.
It's never fun.
No, it's really, I mean, no.
I discussed this at length the other day. You know, the drunk part is okay. It's the hangover
Not
the next
always.
day. The hangover the next day that stopped me from doing that because it's a complete waste of a day.
Yeah, hangovers suck.
So I've never been blackout drunk.
No,
so
I
I don't
can't
know
decide if I have either.
how I would be able.
I mean, I've been nasty drunk. I mean, when I
Yes.
did ridiculously drunk, embarrassingly drunk, and unnecessarily drunk. I mean, you've been all those, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
it's been a long time.
A long time.
Been a long time. But I heard you say that though, blackout drunk. And that's not easy.
I might
to
have
do.
been mistaken.
That's not easy to do.
No, and I wonder.
Could imagine trying to do it on beer. I
So
couldn't. I couldn't. I would
You'd
explode.
Get too full before you.
I would explode. I mean, by the time you've had 4 beers, is that really even different than 7?
It's
honestly other than the weight and calories.
It's hard for me to get drunk on beer anymore because I get full.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you drink light beer?
Yeah.
That's all I drink too. No, by 4 or 5 beers, it's like you're more bloated than you are drunk.
Exactly.
And you're just uncomfortable, and you're like, screw this.
And then you get hungry, then you eat. The next thing you know, then you black out. There's a different type of blackout.
Yeah, you just pass out from food.
We've gone from Iowa basketball to blackouts.
And let's see what this important.
What do you
call's
got?
about. Hello.
Hey, it's Chris in New York.
Hey, Chris.
Hey. Sorry to take you away from basketball, but I wanted to shift back to something you talked about on Monday. I was listening to the podcast, and I was listening to Don Patterson's comments about Noah Fant and that situation. And then I was listening to another pod this morning about all the players that are skipping bowls. And I don't know, to me, it's really hard to begrudge a player wanting to make a financial decision and make a business, a life decision, and skip the bowl and risk injury, in order to go after his dream and get that big job. Because that's what it is. It's a job.
I agree.
And I make a lot of money.
I have a column. I actually haven't published it yet, but I've written it. I have a column that I'll probably put out today saying the exact same thing. You can't judge these guys who you can't unless you're in their shoes because you don't know how you'd react if you've got a bunch of money and waved in front of you and family members saying go, go, go. And that's what Noah Fant has. You know his family's saying go, go. You don't need to go back there again. And I don't blame him.
Yeah. No, not at all.
I don't either. And we have a recent example, by the way, in our own conference at the same position 2 years ago. You'll remember Jake Butt, who I don't think he was quite as good of a tight end as Noah Fant was.
No, he didn't project like Fant did. No, you're right.
But he was all Big Ten, and he was projected like, late first round, second round type pick.
Yep.
He plays in the Orange Bowl, blows out his knee, ACL, misses all the prep, misses the combine. In spite of this, he actually ended up becoming a 5th-round pick. But imagine how much money he went.
Well, plus he's had 2 knee surgeries since. He's had 3 knee injuries now. He's out again.
Yeah, and then this fall he blew his knee again, and so he's barely played in the NFL, and so he's probably missing a chance to ever get a second contract.
Well, he's actually in. That's funny, because I mentioned him in the column. He's the shining example of what you're talking about, what Noah's trying to avoid, and I don't blame him. Now, if they were playing in the playoff, my feelings might be a little different. I don't know because it's not happening. But if Iowa was in the playoff, I'd be like, okay, now I do think, but they're not. I think maybe Noah's response would be different, but we don't know because it's not happening, obviously.
And I think if we were played in the Big Ten championship last week, I'll bet he would have played.
I think he would have played in that too. I mean, we don't know for sure. We'll never know, but that's just how I feel. This is the Outback Bowl. I'm not knocking it. It's great. A great bowl and everything, but it's not worth the risk when he doesn't just project. He projects as maybe the first NFL tight end taken in the draft because I saw Mel Kiper's thing. He's got Fant clearly ranked above everybody else.
Yeah.
He's got him 11th overall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, look, if it were the Big Ten championship, the Rose Bowl, or the playoff, a game that really meant something, I'd say I'd be disappointed if you weren't playing, but let's face it, I want to see the Hawkeyes win the Outback Bowl, but it's a meaningless exhibition game in the grand scheme of life. And so I get it.
But it does still count on your record, though. I mean, so it's not meaningless per se.
But it's meaningless to Noah now.
Well,
I mean,
yes.
it means nothing to Noah now.
Yes.
And that's not saying Noah's selfish.
It means something to us. It means something to us as Iowa fans. It means something to Mississippi State fans.
Yeah.
But to the broader universe, it means nothing.
No, just like 90% of all the other bowls mean nothing outside of their. Yeah,
Correct.
Each bowl is unique to those two teams and to the TV stations that are trying to push it.
Right. Hey, one other thing, Pat, you got mentioned on the Hawkeye Nation podcast this morning.
Hawkeye Nation, which one's that?
That's the one that it's big.
Oh, is that Miller?
John Miller runs it, and he does the show with Steve Dace. And believe it or not, they're like a top 5 in the nation college sportscast. I mean, they have a big listenership.
What'd I do wrong?
Anyway, what's that?
What'd I do wrong?
I don't know. Oh, well, so they were talking about the Fran and Gary Dolphin situation and about how poorly, the University of Iowa handled it. And I totally agree. But they were talking about the different ways that perhaps it could have been handled and how perhaps, Dolph could have, maybe done something different. And so Steve Dace came up with the idea of, hey, why don't we make this, he could have just apologized, and then why don't we make him, do something funny, like dress him up and make him run laps or something like that. We could have made a social media event out of it. We could have gotten in a sports center. We could have done, the Iowa marketing team could have actually turned this into a positive instead of extending this and turning this into a big negative thing. So it was kind of a harebrained idea that Dave came up with. You'd have to listen to the podcast to understand what I mean. But at the end, he said, he's like, even Pat Harty would smile at something like that.
Well, Pat's not smiling.
I don't like that idea.
So
I don't either.
Sure,
I don't like that
I'm
idea.
not sure. It was kind of a harebrained idea, and I'm not sure why he was making fun of you or saying even you would smile. I don't know if there's a backstory, but if there is, I'd love to hear
I
it.
have no relationship with Steve. I don't have any. Can't really. I don't know. Now he knows that I had a lot of stuff going on with Alford because I remember watching. He and Miller used to do a TV show years ago, and it was something about had Alford stayed. And he brought up me. He goes, if he would have stayed, Pat Harty would have written one negative column after another. But no, I don't have any relationship at all with Steve. I don't follow his political stuff. I'm not against her for. I mean, he's basically just a non-factor, and I don't mean that bad, or I just don't ever think about it.
No, I know.
I don't listen to their but I don't listen to any podcast. I don't want you. I don't. That's just me. I don't listen. I don't need to listen to other people talk about Iowa football.
Right.
I do enough of it myself. I just really don't care what other people have to say. That's all. And I don't mean that. I don't want that to come off as critical. Does that sound critical?
I agree. I have never heard. I've never listened to a podcast.
Does that? I don't want Chris. I don't want that to come off as like I'm not.
Oh no,
like
no.
I just don't care what other
people.
People have to say about Iowa football.
I love the talk radio.
Well, I'm glad you do.
I love it because you can listen on demand. Like I try to listen to you guys live when I have a chance, but you can kind of listen whenever you're doing something, when you're running, when you're driving.
Oh no, I get you.
Yeah.
No, well, we like those. I like the
so-
fact that we are live. I mean, all the other. I mean, we start live, and I like that better than just being a podcast. I mean, I would say that probably most of our listeners hear us live, but then we also do have a strong podcast. I know we do because anytime I don't have that thing up by like noon or 1, I start hearing from people.
Right.
Hey, is your podcast?
Yeah, I listen to it.
But I do think most of our people always listen to us live.
Yeah.
Do you think there's people that listen
you
to
guys,
us? Go ahead.
Yeah. You guys should keep doing what you're doing because there's a whole bunch of Hawkeye podcasts. I mean, Hawkeye fans are amazing, and they're not. If you look across the landscape, a lot of other programs, even big name programs, they don't have as many podcasts as Iowa fans do. But each one has their own little niche. Like Miller and Dace do their sort of back and forth analysis. Like Kakert does sort of like a call-in. They do like a Twitter poll thing, and they do it like live from a different eatery. Morehouse and Doctorman do their whole back and forth roundtable, and they take Twitter questions. And then you guys have, a live radio call-in thing where fans can talk. So everybody has their little niche.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. No, and I think it's great that there's a bunch of them. And like I said, just because I don't listen to them doesn't mean I don't respect them or whatever. It's just not my thing.
No, nor mine.
But I'm glad there's people out there that do listen.
And ask him to explain what he meant because I don't understand.
I can't remember the last time I saw Steve Dace. I don't. You can ask him. Send him a Twitter message or something. See what he says.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, I don't.
I know John Miller, but I couldn't pick Steve Dace out of a lineup. I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen Steve in years, but no, Chris, we appreciate the interest in you listening. Well, yeah, if you
care.
find out, let me know. I'm
Yep,
curious.
see ya.
I mean, I smile. I smile a lot,
Yeah,
actually.
you do. You do.
You just didn't smile at that
Well,
idea.
that was a dumb idea.
I agree.
I mean,
Well,
just,
when they talk
stupid.
about Noah Fant missing the game because he doesn't want to blow out his something, that's why these pro league all-star games are all just crap. I don't know how the hell they do a football game.
I'm surprised they still do the football game.
football is there's just so many.
And they do. I mean, they don't play much, but they do tackle each other. I'm always amazed at the Pro Bowl still. In this day of lawsuits and big money, how the Pro Bowl still is allowed to be played.
So what are they at? Like about 10 players who have said they're not going to play in their bowl games?
Roughly about that. Yeah, and most of them project as first and second round picks. And people are like, oh, this opens up the floodgates. No, I mean, Noah Fant is so unique in the big scheme in Iowa. How many Noah Fant comes around Iowa once about every 5-10 years?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody who just knows they're going to more than likely be a first-round pick. Desmond King didn't know. I mean, obviously he was right. I mean, Josh Jackson, I was wondering about him in last year's bowl game, but he played, and he wasn't a first-round pick. I'll be stunned if Noah Fant's not picked in the first round from everything I'm reading.
From everything that I've seen, yeah, you're right.
I will be very surprised.
You're right.
God, is it already 9:30?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is money calling?
There won't be financials.
Oh, that's
today
right.
'cause
There's
of
nothing today because of Bush, right?
But we can take a break.
And also we got to start getting Adam on. Ask Adam which day of the week he wants to do his little basketball thing because I think now's it'd be a good time to start getting. I'd love to get his feedback from.
I'm with you.
I forget
Monday.
Yeah, I'd like to see what he had to say. Maybe we'll start doing that on Friday. Yeah, we'll take a break and come back even better than ever.
Sounds good.
Even better.
You can see and hear us on YouTube or listen on the TuneIn app. Our video and audio streams are powered by the Iowa City Marketplace.
Game's going to end on this play. He fires downfield. It's caught and into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa! No time on the clock. I don't believe what I just saw. Tyler Kluver with a snap, the spot, the kick is on the way. It's good! It's good! Iowa wins 14-13. 14-13.
Gary Dolphin is an Iowa Hawkeye down to his core. For more than 2 decades, through all the thrilling highs and, yes, the toughest lows, Dolphin has been the voice we've trusted to announce Hawkeye football and basketball. He makes us feel the game. Dolph's voice sees the game for us. You probably heard Dolph made some comments during a recent broadcast that drew a little attention. Well, he immediately apologized for them. And now it's time for Gary Dolphin to get back behind the mic. It's where he belongs. It's where we need him. It's time to hear this again.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome. I'm Gary Dolphin.
Paid for by loyal Hawkeye fans and
Are you building a new business or planning on building a new church? Call Apex Construction at 339-1543. Are you planning to remodel your business? Call Apex Construction at 339-1543. Do you need quality workmanship and attention to detail on your project? Call Apex Construction at 339-1543. With over 2 decades of peak quality service to the Iowa City area, call Steve or Harvey at 339-1543 or visit online at apexconstructionco.com.
Hawkeye fans, you love watching the black and gold. You know Hawkeye Black and Gold. As a Hawkeye fan, there are no better colors than the Hawkeye Black and Gold. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson. When you're buying, selling, or refinancing your property, consider the green and white team, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement. The team you love, the people you trust.
Car won't steer? Call Premier. Premier Automotive in North Liberty offers full-service mechanical auto repair work in addition to being Eastern Iowa's most trusted name in auto body repair. Use Premier for all your auto repair needs. Brakes, oil changes, air conditioning, diagnostics, transmissions, or preventive maintenance. Whether you hit a deer or your car won't steer, see Premier Automotive in North Liberty.
Over the years, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys on the market today. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, sidewinder, and remote-headed keys. If you've lost the keys to your car or simply need a duplicate, call 330-9185. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars has the technology to keep you on the road. Call 330-9185 and schedule an appointment today.
1,
1-800-800-ROSE.
1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country.
1-800-800-ROSE.
It's so easy. Just remember one number, 1-800-800-ROSE, your FTD florist.
1-800-800-ROSE.
Remember,
Active Endeavors is your travel and adventure store. Since 1986, their experts have been outfitting travelers with great apparel and equipment from Patagonia, Eagle Creek, Osprey, and more. And with winter coming sooner than you think, check out their wide variety of coats, boots, and winter clothing from Patagonia, Arc'teryx, Smart Wool, Icebreaker, Sorrel, and Keen. Everything you need at competitive prices, spread out over 5 floors. Active Endeavors, under new ownership, same great management, and still locally owned. 138 South Clinton Street, downtown Iowa City.
Deer season is upon us, and Dirk Sterner Taxidermy of Lone Tree is ready. For over 30 years, owner Dirk Sterner has been providing affordable, top-notch taxidermy services to eastern Iowa. Dirk Sterner Taxidermy invites you to visit their Facebook page and see some of Dirk's award-winning mounts. Call Dirk Sterner Taxidermy at 319-330-1774. That's 319-330-1774. Or visit them on Facebook at Dirk Sterner Taxidermy. Deer season is upon us, and Dirk Sterner Taxidermy is ready.
Dad, we want movies.
Hello, I'd like to switch to DirecTV. I want over 150 channels with HD DVR service and equipment fee included for one receiver.
DirecTV. Package offers start at incredibly low monthly prices. Call now.
Big Dog TV and Internet, 395-0800, or stop by and see us on Players Ferry Road in Cedar Rapids. Ends 8/31/18, 24-month agreement required, $35 activation, early termination fee of $20 per month for each remaining month on agreement. Equipment non-returned and additional fees apply. New approved customers only. Equipment lease required. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Hey Hawkeye fans, this is Iowa Wrestling National Champion Spencer Lee. Thank you for your support and congrats on being named #1 attendance again last year. Carver Hawkeye Arena is always wild during wrestling season, and it's because of you. Check out HawkeyeSports.com or call 1-800-IA-HAWKS for ticket information.
Loud and clear from the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, you're listening to the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
We are all Hawkeyes.com.
Loud and clear.
Yes,
loud,
we are.
clear, and not always bringing it. So far, that first half, though, that was
good.
Some serious breakdown.
Sure.
Went fast. There was one call. We seem to get calls a little later, don't we?
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
it
our
kinda
calls
pick up?
seem to last longer now, too. Have you noticed that? I mean, there's some people come on and kind of seek residency, which is fine. We like our callers.
That's good. Hello.
Steve calling. How you guys
Steve.
doing?
Hey, Steve.
We haven't heard from you in a while. What's up?
Oh, first of all, with basketball, boy, I'll tell you, if that didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth, nothing would. It would remind me too much of last year, that's for sure.
Amen, brother.
That's what I wrote.
And the thing is, I knew early on, like most of it was not. I knew a while before that it was going to be. It didn't take long to me figure out it's going to be 30 points or more.
I hate to say it, maybe I shouldn't, but full disclosure, I watched the first half, and I turned to Ann, and I said, we've watched our last basketball of the night, because this is going to get to be 25 or 30-point blowout. And there was no doubt in my mind.
One thing that Michigan State did is they spent a lot of time in the off-season working on penetrating the zone more, and you can tell that whatever they were doing did work.
No, without question. But
Whatever
Steve,
they wanted.
What about the low post, though? The single coverage in the low post, and how they were just wide open in the lane. And they just kept burying themselves deeper toward the basket, so where they'd get that post pass and turn around and just put it in. And Iowa didn't seem to do anything to counter that. That's what I'm wondering about.
The thing is, maybe you know the answer because I don't. Who's the real leader on the team?
If I had to say right now, you'd want it to be Nicholas Baer, but I don't know if he plays enough to be the real.
That's what I'm saying, because if you don't have a leader, it's awful hard to follow the leader when you don't have one.
Yeah, or Bohannon. Ideally, it'd be one of those two, and maybe
you know
they
what
are.
I mean, it's not.
No, I do know what you
but
mean.
I can tell you, to me, I would like to see Connor start. That's just my opinion, because he's really a true point guard, and I know it's not perfect, but I just think that's where I would go with it. If I was coach, of course I'm not, but that's where I would go.
Well, I see what you mean, but then you'd be dealing with an unhappy Isaiah Moss, and that would be a.
Yeah.
I think that would be an issue. And Isaiah the other night played okay. Isaiah seems really good when the games get out of reach.
They don't matter?
When there's no pressure, he just lights up sometimes. He made a couple big shots the other night. But no, I'm
One
with
thing
you.
about this next game, if if these players aren't pissed off about that game, I don't know what will. I mean, they should say, "This is, I'm embarrassed. I got to come out and start."
Oh, I agree.
I'm just saying, as a player, I would think they should have a bad taste about that game themselves.
And yes, and want to take the frustration out on Iowa State, defend
That's
the
what
home
I'm saying.
court.
That's
Yeah,
my
no, I'm with you. We'll learn a little bit about this Iowa team. Now, if they come out and just lay an egg.
It's a good enough team that we're going to have to show up.
Oh, I think Iowa State's a better team.
yes.
I think if this game was in Ames, I'd pick Iowa State to win, no doubt.
Because I think that they got enough athletes and speed, and they can really shoot on any given day. And I think it's really going to be a good game that we're going to have. If we win, I say we win. We're going to have to play well because they're going to play well. There's no question about that.
No, I agree with you, Steve, because like I said, I think Iowa State's a better team. But Iowa's home, and that to me gives them a little bit of an edge. So we'll see.
Well, I just think if that doesn't piss them off as a
Nothing
competitor, because I played sports in high school and stuff. I mean, well, as a fan, but if you're a player saying, that pisses me off, they should be angry and go out there and say, well, we got something. That's just my
agree.
opinion.
No, I agree. And if they don't, then you wonder, are they soft?
That's my point.
Well, and that's my biggest concern right now.
Because last year they were soft.
They were soft.
Because a lot of times, you see in football, you hear people say, well, they should be pissed off if they play bad, and sometimes they don't show that emotion. I think basketball here, especially after that game, and I'm interested to see that part for sure. And I think they are pissed off. I would be surprised if they're not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm with you.
I want to talk a little bit about wrestling, if I may.
Fire away.
I tell you what, if we're talking about leaders, I can tell you when you look at this Iowa State thing, because I've been following wrestling a long time, about 20 years or longer, but the guy that I think is a real leader that doesn't get enough attention, especially after this meet, was the heavyweight, because he wasn't supposed to wrestle.
No.
And him and Tom Brand had a discussion. Tom Brand didn't want him to wrestle. And he's like, I want to do this for my team. He came out and helped win the meet.
No, he had to because they were probably going to lose.
Yeah.
But Tom Brand didn't want him to. That was very, very well.
No, I know. No, it
Tom
was
Brand said he didn't want. He tried to talk him out of it.
Neat moment for Sam Stoll. Yeah, no, you're right. It was neat.
I love that Brand slapped him too.
Only in wrestling can you slap a guy and be complimented for it.
Yeah, Fran would be crucified.
Like he was not 100% that he may have been sick or something that he gutted it out.
But it was still a lot closer than anyone envisioned. So
this finish, that to me is as wild as, I mean, you remember they were up by 4, and the Iowa guy was on his back. He should have been pinned, and he fired off. I mean, what a wild finish as you can get.
Well, I think, Steve, the lesson from it is Iowa State's coming. I mean, they're getting better under Dresser, maybe faster than we thought.
Yeah, I guess. When Metcalf didn't hurt anything either.
No, I agree. So we got a rivalry again.
The other guy's gone, and that moved him up, and that's good. I mean, that's just I think, good competition. I have no problem with that.
No, I think Iowa State being better makes Iowa better now. Can they do anything to Penn State? Because they look really good again, Penn State.
But I just wanted to give you a quick call. Good show.
All right, Steve. Good to hear from you again.
Thank you.
So
Steve's right, though. They need to come out tomorrow. And when you say play, you can't play pissed off, but you can use that emotion, because you always hear, like in baseball, if you play pissed off in baseball, that's not good. Now in basketball, they just need to come out and play a good game. They need to be locked in on defense.
They need to show something, show that they've got some.
But then the other thing they need, though, and this
decent shots.
The other thing they need, though, and this has nothing to do with being pissed off or being tough, or they need their shots to go in.
That's what just
Yes.
yeah. I mean, they were taking ridiculous shots that have low percentage shots, and then the ones that what you would expect to drop.
When Jordan Bohannon's open for 3, he needs to make it on Thursday.
Yes, absolutely.
And something tells me he will. Like I said, if this game was in Ames, I would give them hardly any chance at all of winning.
You missed
would you?
2/3 of your.
No, I agree with you.
But now that it's here, they've got a good chance.
Well, we've got a good chance.
Yeah, you missed 2/3 of your attempts from the field. You're not going to win.
No.
Hello.
Hey, guys, missing 2/3 of your shots are just, and this falls right into it. It's the going 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 11 minutes without scoring. You're not going to survive.
No, they went 6:08 the other day.
Wow.
Against Michigan State, they went 6:08 in the second half without scoring. That's. And
you just can't do that.
You can't do that, no, especially on the road, and that's been the problem. They've had that problem with Fran a lot of times. They just hit these walls offensively.
I mean, you can't even do that against Bryant. You've got to have some level of consistency, and that's the biggest part. We have zero consistency on either end of the floor right now, and it's a recipe for losses.
It also seems like every year when you play Michigan State, and just gonna go back a couple years. Was it I can't remember his first name, but Payne. And,
Adrian Payne.
Or Draymond Green, or whoever this number 44 was. I mean, it's just like they got guys that our guys. We got some length, but they're bean poles. They got guys that are wide and tall and can just push and back our guys right down and do whatever they want. Michigan State.
No, you're right, they do. But those guys like Xavier Tillman, now Nick Ward's good, but Nick Ward's not a Zach Randolph phenom dominant. Iowa made those guys look a lot better than that.
I was going to say he sure looked good.
I've watched the Xavier Tillman play, and he struggles in games. And he is not – those guys, I just think it was more about Iowa the other night than about Michigan State. Nick Ward's good, don't get me wrong, but he's not as good as he looked the other night.
And then
agreed.
Real quick, the whole thing, and I don't even want to bring this up, but I'm going to, about McCaffrey and, everybody talking when they talk about Coach Ferris. But with McCaffrey, I think it would be – worse, because if they would get rid of him somehow or one way or whatever, because I'm a firm believer in college basketball. At a Power 5 school, if you miss the NCAA tournament 4 years in a row or 5 years in a row, you shouldn't be coaching.
No, I agree, and that's probably what would happen. It just stuff needs to work itself out. We want to talk about it too. If Fran doesn't make the NCAA tournament this year, next year, he's gone. I mean, that's more than he'll be gone. That'll be 4 years. He'll be gone. The system takes care of itself. It really does, even at Iowa.
My question is, though, man, if he goes, okay, then does his kid leave and the other one doesn't come?
Well, I don't think Fran's going to get fired. There's nothing that's going to happen this year for Fran. I mean, we got to relax. They're still ranked. And, I mean, they've lost 2 games in a row, but is that the conversation that you're seeing on social media, that Fran could be at risk of getting fired?
Oh, I think if he goes 4-14 again,
he still won't get fired. He'll go into next year having to win, but I don't think
he will be on the hottest
seat it could be, and he may choose to leave under pressure. But I don't think Iowa would fire him. Even if there's just too much years left on his contract, too much money. I think he would leave on his own before. He's not going to get, barring any unforeseen thing, he's not going to get fired for product on the court this year. I don't think we're there yet.
No.
Okay. I just was. And my thing is he's just with players coming in like his kids. He's got a kid coming in and a kid already.
Well, no, if you're asking if Fran left this year, yes, I believe Connor and Patrick would go with him.
Yes,
that would be my guess.
I'm just guessing. My question, not if he's going to get fired.
But no, I think the kids would go with Dad and Mom, but like I said, I don't think we're anywhere near that, and it's just ironic because we're talking about a team that. A head coach whose team is currently ranked. Now, they lose to Iowa State on Thursday. Obviously, they're not going to be ranked anymore. And I think the rankings this time of year are just ridiculous. But it's something to talk about and what have you. So, but no, I mean, no coach. I mean, if Nick Saban went 2-10 next year and 2-10 the year after that, he'd go into that next year having to win, or even he would be fired. I mean, that's just the way it works.
They wanted Nick Saban. There was people that said fire Nick Saban after he lost Ohio State.
Well, that's just a freak show that is Alabama football, and that's just a different world. But the system, and I think Tom knows, the system takes care of itself.
It does. No, but Fran's not in any danger this year.
No,
and shouldn't be.
No, and he shouldn't be. No. Now, if they go 4-16, then yes, he goes into next year having to win or he's done. He has to get to the tournament next year or he's done.
But that's what you just said. The system takes care of itself.
That's a long way from now, though. They've only played 2 games, conference games. So let's see.
And if he fired this year, I think the buyout is like $9.1 million.
Yeah, it just wouldn't work. But no, his question was, do I think his kids would go with him? Yes, I do. If I had to guess.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, real quick, Pat, I was just wondering, have you or anybody, and I don't even know did Mississippi State? They didn't offer Brandon Smith, did they?
No, nobody down. I don't think hardly anyone did down there.
Okay. I was just wondering if you or anybody had asked him questions about it.
Well, no, because we haven't had any access to him since they announced it, but that will definitely be a storyline, I'm sure.
Yeah, because his sister still runs track there, and she was...
Yeah, and I think he's got another connection there, too. So, yeah, between Kilvin Bill and Brandon Smith, I'm sure there's a couple of Mississippi storyline stories there.
Yeah, okay, all right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
And we'll see them ad nauseum,
Oh, yeah, there's 30, we'll have press, I think... Yeah, no, they'll be. Like I said, I just booked my flight last night. Have you got your flight booked yet?
We do.
I'm going Delta.
Actually, we're looking at this as a 35th anniversary trip, and also Ann's not as mobile as she should be, so we sucked it up and spent a little extra money and went with one of the travel agencies. So her mobility will be less of an issue.
That's great.
So will you have a wheelchair for her? Push her on the beach in a wheelchair. That would be hilarious.
Oh, that'd be great.
Try to push her in the sand, too. See how that goes.
We'd go about 2 feet, and I would collapse.
She'd fall forward.
Something with an umbrella, please. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I got 2 questions. One basketball shooting question. Do you think they're struggling to shoot because they all have tired legs because they're at least attempting to play defense this year?
I think they're struggling to shoot because none of the guys on the team, you would say shooting is their biggest asset.
But they're even worse than...
Well, no, I'm just saying, other than Bohannon, what player on that team would you say their biggest strength is shooting from beyond 5 feet?
Well, I mean, I think Garza has been...
Okay, but I'm just saying, what player
shooter.
on that team would you say shooting is their biggest strength? I don't think that. I mean, if they can't
Garza
play
from inside is, and he's not even making...
okay, Garza, but I'm just saying, they don't have shooters.
Yeah.
What about Joe?
Joe Wieskamp's a great, but I don't think his three-point shooting is his greatest strength.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. I think he's a better all-around player. But no, I don't think it's anything from playing hard on defense. God, I hope not. If that's the case, then you may as well end the season. I think it's more they just don't have good shooters. And who on this team besides? And right now, Bohannon's even struggling. So they're one real good shooter. I mean, Isaiah Moss is so inconsistent. Macy Daly, Connor, all these Nicholas Bear, they're all just average shooters who I think right now are all struggling at the same time. So we'll see. I mean, we went through the same thing last year, though, too. I remember saying, who on this team besides Bohannon's a good shooter? C.J. Frederick's supposed to be a good shooter, but he's not.
Well, Brady Ellingson was supposed to be a good shooter, but he wasn't.
Josh Oglesby was supposed to be a good shooter, but he wasn't. So, I don't know. It's tough when you can't make – but I don't think Michigan State – John, who on Michigan State's team would you say is a really good shooter?
I don't – well, when you can shoot from a –
well, yeah, layups. But I think overall, though, maybe Josh Langford. But I think
they're not a great shooting
team.
They're
not. That's why I gave Iowa a chance. Michigan State is a more physical, more aggressive, talented Iowa version where they can score a lot of points, but they still don't. Like Wisconsin always has 2 or 3 good shooters on the court. Duke always has 2 or 3 players where you say their biggest thing is shooting. Iowa just doesn't have that right now, and I don't know what's wrong with Bohannon. I mean, and you could tell it's bugging him because he says it's bugging him. I mean, I think it's in his head right now, don't you?
Oh, he's shooting 81% from, which is good for most people, but that's not very good. He's been shooting over 90.
Oh, his
free throw line, yeah.
He's missed 4. I've seen it. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird right now. I mean, he's in a funk right now, but that's the least of my worries is Bohannon's shot on this team right now. I'm just more worried about their zone defense just did not look good the other day.
I think the one thing now is teams have film of what I was doing this year.
Good point. And don't you think, John, Oregon's not very good. I watched Arizona's not very good, and they won at Connecticut last night or 2 nights ago. I don't think Iowa's really beaten anyone yet. And then Pittsburgh lost to a 1-4 Niagara team.
Yeah, that's not good.
So the 2 good teams they've played, they lost.
So here's my other. The gentleman that called before was asking about Fran, how safe he is or whatever. I think he's safe for the next 5 years. I don't think they're. You think they'll pay more than 3? His buyout is $9 million if they fire him before June 30th.
If they go 4 years without making the NCAA tournament, which is 2 more, he's gone. There's no way he could go.
$7.6 million next year.
There's no way. No, 2 more. They've gone 2 years, so it'd be this year and next year. If they don't make it this year and they don't make it next year, I don't care what the buyout is, he'd be gone. They'd have to.
$7.6 million.
Because the ticket sales would offset it. They would have to. There's no way they can go 4 years in a row in this day. And there's no way. You're saying that would be. So you're saying that would be 7 years in a row without? There's no way that would happen. There's no way. It couldn't.
How many years is it now?
It's 2.
Okay.
So 2 more years, 4 years without. Tom Davis never went more. Alford never went more than 3 or 4. There was always one in there. Tom Davis never went more. Did he ever go back? I'm not sure if Tom Davis ever went back-to-back years without making it.
I just looked at that the other day. I don't think he did. He made it 9 times.
And Alford never went more than 2 or 3 years. But Alford made it 3 and 8. Davis made it 9 and 13. So if Fran's allowed to go into a 5th year without making the NCAA tournament, I will be stunned. I just
Well,
don't.
you'll be able to shoot a howitzer off in Carver Hawkeye
Oh, yeah.
and not hit anybody.
Yeah, no. If they don't make the tournament this year and next year, I think that will be it. That's just me guessing on the way the system works.
I agree. And
Okay,
I still
well.
support Fran. I mean, don't.
I do too.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying Fran should get fired at all right now. We got to see what happens to this season. It's still too early to write this team off. Now, it's also still too early to rank them 14th and get carried away on how good they were.
I mean, if Kirk Ferentz goes 4 years in a row
He's gone.
with no bowl game, he's gone.
Yes, and Kirk never has done that.
No,
he's avoided that.
Well, you guys have a wonderful day.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, John.
What a pleasant way to end a phone call.
That is nice.
Yeah, and don't forget to get your hoodie Saturday. We got a hoodie for you.
Yeah. Well, we'll take care of that.
But no, I just maybe the 5th year. If let's say they don't make it these next 2 years, but let's say they get to the NIT final or something. But at some point, you got to get back to the NCAA tournament. You just have to.
Well, that's the measuring stick.
Especially
these
after
days.
you've done it. He's already been there and done it for 3 years.
I mean, you got to be one of the top 68 teams. It's not
at some point. Yes,
It's
not every
not
year.
like you have to be top 20. You have to be one of the 68 best teams to get into the NCAAs. That's not that exclusive of a club.
And my expectation at Iowa, based on the past and based on Iowa's expectations, I wouldn't expect if I'm the AD here, my coach to get in the NCAA tournament every year. But I would expect him to get in 6 out of 10.
I
How's
was going
that?
to say 3 out of 4. I
6
think
out of
is-
10, 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
I'm not,
absolutely.
and I don't. That's what I would expect, and that's what I would pay for. And then when they don't make it after a 5 or 7, you move on. That's just how the business works.
Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
What's up?
Well, like you guys are just saying, you got to be one of the 68 best teams. Well, it's not even as exclusive as that, because in the Big Ten and all the Power 5 conferences, generally you're going to almost guarantee at least half, or like 6 or 7 teams in your conference to go.
No, and also, too, that's misleading because there's teams that play in the NIT that are better than a lot of the teams. Those other teams in smaller conferences that get the automatic bids, it's a little misleading because there are probably 15 to 20 NIT teams every year now that are better than 15 or 20 of the teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But my point,
generally, what I'm
I
saying,
think, still
those
stands.
smaller
I agree.
conferences, they're, it's generally just one team, and that's your automatic qualifier. Unless it's an outstanding team that happens to get beat in the championship game.
I just think that for college basketball coaches now in a place like Iowa, that the NCAA tournament is the judge.
It is.
Because if you get in, that means the regular season was pretty good, or you made some magical run at the big conference tournament. Either way, that's the ultimate judge. That has to be. I mean,
And anymore, and if you don't make the NCAAs for an extended period of time, you're going to lose your job.
Yes.
You have to.
now with Kirk, let's say Kirk Ferentz, let's say Iowa goes 5-7 next year. Then the year after that, they go 7-6. And then they go, how much pressure do you think Ferentz would be going into 2021 with a 5-7 and a 7-6?
There would be, I would say, more dissatisfaction than pressure.
Yes, and then if they didn't rebound in 21, then he would be under.
And if
I think Kirk's got 3 mediocre seasons in him.
I think
Before
that's right.
then he goes into year 4, you better win, or because by then even with his buyout it wouldn't be. But I think Kirk's got 3 years to where he could underachieve. When I say that, maybe not make a bowl game or barely make one, be around 500, but just that. I think with 3 years, I think Kirk would be in trouble.
I agree.
Well, those records is going to depend on how they lose those games too. If they're getting blown out in all of those losses.
Yeah,
that's
5-7's
gonna be a
5-7.
roll.
Yeah, but 5-7's 5-7 anyway. It's like now 7-6. If those 6 losses are to Iowa State and Nebraska, yeah. I mean, But to me, with Kirk now, it's gotten to the point where Kirk at some point every 2 or 3 out of 3 years has to win at least 8 games. I think to keep the pressure and the dissatisfaction from growing. Wouldn't you say, Tom?
Yes, I
Anything
would
less
agree.
than 8 wins at this stage under Kirk Ferentz is going to be met with a large degree of dissatisfaction from a certain faction of the fan base.
Without question. Well, a certain segment wants him gone.
Anyway, yes. They're just tired of it.
Yeah.
And just to bring up one quick thing on, like, the Kansas State Bill Snyder thing, if I remember right, the only reason I think he really kind of coached as long as he did the second time around is he was wanting his son to step into his play.
And that's just not going to happen, it doesn't look like. No, that's big reason.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big reason why.
Years ago, that's what I kind of heard was that some of the higher-ups at Kansas State, once he was done, they didn't want any ties with him.
Well, it's a big reason why. Yeah, it's a big reason why he came back this past year too. I think it's the only reason he came back, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yep. Well, that's all I got.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one.
I see both sides to that. I see Bill sticking up for his kid, but I also see Kansas State having to do what they think is best for them. What's ironic, though, is Kansas State has nothing without Bill Snyder. They're just nothing without him.
Do you think they'll tank again like they did the last time?
I think there's a chance, depending on who they hire. I mean, the job is much more attractive now than it was when Bill took over 30 years ago. So do they have enough to get somebody who can keep the momentum and who can recruit? It's going to come down to recruiting like everything does.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of job where they hired Ron Prince the last time, and boom, 2 years it was. What was that?
I don't know.
That was board-op error.
That was, absolutely board-op error.
That could have been, who knows if we could have said something there.
Is that us calling? We're starting to call people instead of people call us.
Yeah.
That's a new twist in
That'd
our
be
show.
fun.
We
I
just
didn't know
start calling.
I forgot that he hung up, and it just automatically started calling
Instead of a call-in show, a call-out show.
Yeah, we call people and just start asking them questions.
That'd be a trip.
It would. Hello.
What do you want? You called me. Anybody who wants to get rid of a coach has no clue what they're going to end up with next.
That's true.
I do agree with that, but you also can't be afraid of change. You can't be afraid of change either.
State. They got the coach that won the national championship. What happened?
What are you?
You know?
Who are you talking about?
It's what's his face that was down at Auburn.
Oh,
Chiswick. Yeah. No, what I'm saying. Well, he left before.
Yeah.
He left before.
Wasn't he only there two
years? What I'm saying, though, is you also can't be afraid of change, though, either. I mean, there is two sides to that. I agree with you, but you also cannot be afraid of change.
I agree. I agree. But the other thing is, if you just barely make the NCAA tournament, aren't the odds pretty good? Whoever you play is going to be really good.
Yes, but the odds are you're not going to get fired. If you just barely make the NCAA tournament 10 out of 10 years at Iowa, you're going to be a legend. I mean, I don't care what you do in the
build a statue outside of Carver.
Seriously, I mean, if you just barely make it at Iowa, you're in. That's all you got to do.
I know, but boy, if you make it, you want to get in just a little bit deeper.
Oh, I agree. It was frustrating watching Tom Davis's teams do the one and one, but it looks pretty good right now.
It looks real good right now.
I hope so. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them now.
Well, they got to start winning. I mean, last year was a big dip, and we'll see. I mean, they've got good players. I mean, and the shooting thing, though, I mean, the object of the game is to put the ball in the basket, and that's what they're struggling to do right now.
Yep.
Well, we do have good players, but we don't have great
We'll call you
players.
back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're on our list.
Yeah, bye.
No, there's not a great player. I mean, there's this perception that Tyler Cook's great, but I think in the big scheme of things, he's not great. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's really good.
Maybe
but
real
he's not
good.
great yet. I mean,
No.
he can dominate at times, but I think Tyler, I think he's trying to take his game out away from the basket more when Iowa needs him in near the basket.
Absolutely.
You've got some conflict there, but I understand what he's doing. He's trying to get ready for the NBA, but I just wish the NBA talk with Tyler would just settle down and just play ball. I mean, he's got to get better here. I mean, so in Garza's situation, he's just in a funk right now. We saw it happen last year at times. And, of course, you worry about the 9-pound cyst. But, nobody worried about it when he was playing well in New York. I still say sometimes you have funks. You just get into them.
Yeah.
And he's still young, and Michigan State roughed him up. And you could tell right away, for some reason, those officials up at the Breslin Center always let the physicality, and part of it is Izzo just works him so hard. He's always,
just tee him up immediately and say, "Sit the f down."
Well, people always talk
Take
about
control.
Fran. People always talk about Fran, and he does lose it on the bench every once in a while. But Fran, unlike Izzo's nonstop along, so is Mark Turgeon. Certain coaches just nonstop ride the officials. That's not Fran.
But why don't the officials take control and say, sit down and stay down, or I'm going to tee you up?
I don't know, because it's Tom Izzo. Hello?
See, that shouldn't mean anything. They're the ones in control, not the coaches.
Right. Hello?
If you guys are going to start calling people, let's call Dirk and keep him on the air for like 45 minutes and talk about things he doesn't want to hear, like humility and common sense.
Tom? Is that harsh?
Yeah, it's a little harsh.
You imagine if we did call Dirk and just refused to hang up?
Yeah.
And we'll call him like 2 minutes before he's about
Guys,
to go.
I got to go. I got to take another call. No.
We'll call him right before
we got a Kinnick House update we got to discuss.
I want to find out when he has a meeting, and we'll call him like 1 minute before the start of that meeting. How's that? Who's this, do you think?
I think it's Dirk.
Hello?
You know, you're talking about K-State. They're discussing a lot of, like, young, up-and-coming coaches for there. But they're not really talking much about Brett Bielema. Do you see him getting back in coaching?
I do, but I don't see that. I don't think Brett wants to go in there and be the guy who succeeds Bill Snyder when Bill wanted it to be his kid. That's just me talking. I'm just guessing Brett doesn't want to touch that.
And I'm not sure Brett's philosophy is very Big 12-ish. I think he's more defensive.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, and I'm wondering too because Brett's name has not been mentioned for anything right now. I'm guessing that right now Brett's not looking at this moment. I haven't heard his name for anything. But no, the Kansas State one, I know he coached there, but I would be surprised. I would be surprised if he took that job.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
No, like I said, I don't have any inside information. I mean, they could hire him in a week. Who knows? But to me, the awkwardness with the Snyder situation, I just don't know if Brett would want to come in unless somehow Bill Snyder says, Brett, well, they're not going to hire my kid. Will you come and take over? Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe a scenario like that. But who knows? I think it's going to be a younger coach, and I think Kansas State, they're going to be under the microscope because they've only gotten it right once in the history of their football program, hiring a coach. And granted, he was there for 30 years. They're so lucky that he stayed there that long. I mean,
so do you think Les Miles regrets that he didn't wait a little longer?
Well, possibly, but if he just has a little bit of success and Kansas State starts to go, it'll almost erase those 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, but no, I think Les Miles thinking that Lawrence is maybe a little better location than Manhattan. I think he's trying to convince himself of all the little advantages, but I don't know what's going to happen with Kansas State. It's because I don't think it's going to be Sean Snyder. I just don't think.
No.
I think they would have done it by now.
I agree.
And Sean's never been a coordinator. I can see where Kansas State's got some hesitation, but I also understand why Bill Snyder's pushing for his kids, especially at a place that he basically took from crap and made it something. I mean, they were just crap before he got there. And
they
then
were one of the worst.
And then when he's
programs.
gone for 3 years, they just unravel and beg, Bill, would you please come back? And he did, and now I think he wants a little gratitude, and they're not willing to go there.
No.
It's a tough situation. It really is.
What do you think, Hunter?
I think anytime you make a coaching change, you're in a state of upheaval. I mean, everything changes, and you got to change the philosophy of the players, philosophy of the program. It is going to be.
It's a risk.
It's a risk anytime. It's
and we're so not used to it here because it's only happened twice in football. Now, Ohio State, I have to admit, I was surprised that I think, this is just my theory on this, and I could be wrong, I think this has been planned. I think when they kept Urban Meyer, I think they said, listen, we're not going to fire you. We're not going to humiliate you like that, but you're done. At the end of this year, I just think this thing's been in the works for a while. I think the headaches are an issue. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there's no denying that I think that kind of feeds, but I think that they did this instead of fire him on the spot, and I think he agreed to it a while ago. That's just my theory.
Could very well be.
Just my theory on it, and I don't have anything to prove it. Should I try to get Urban on the show?
Yes.
If I do get him on, Tom, I want you to be nasty to him as a Hawkeye fan. Just say, yeah, I'm GM of the station, but I'm a Hawkeye fan long before that, and I don't like you.
I'm still pissed at that fake punt that you pulled in the Outback Bowl against the Hawkeyes when you were at Florida. What do you think?
You think he'd laugh at that?
That's right. That was him.
And I thought at the time, I thought it was brilliant. I really did. And it pissed me off, but I said, that's one of the best calls I've ever seen because no sane coach would.
So you're saying you thought that Florida team was better coached than the Zucker team in 2005?
Yes, I would say so.
So, but yeah, that's it's interesting because Meyer's saying now that because there's already talk about him going to Green Bay, the Packers.
To see where somebody was talking about that they were reaching out to Pat Fitzgerald. Did you hear that?
I read that story. To be honest with you, that's the kind of job
I could see.
Well, that's the kind of job. If this was maybe 5 years ago, I think Kirk would be a huge candidate for something like Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I think now at 63, and with Brian here, I think even the NFL is probably like, he's not going anywhere. But I guarantee you, and I wrote this because I did a story. Actually, I wanted to talk about this. Captain's always making fun of me because I don't promote my stuff. But I wrote a column yesterday on Ferentz's contract. And,
Yes.
I've never been a fan of Kirk's contract.
No.
But I've never blamed Kirk 1 second for his contract. I mean, I think that $500,000 bonus should be for winning 10 games. But if I'm Kirk, I'd rather have them offer me it for 8 games. I mean, I get it.
Of course,
Of course,
Hell
that's
yes.
just me on the outside looking in. I think the contract's too one-sided. I think it hamstrings Iowa. I think the buyouts are ridiculous. But I think the buyouts is Iowa's way. They're paying Kirk now for his loyalty and for what he's done for so long. I guess they're a little worried that he could still leave. But I don't think that's the reason for those buyouts. I think it's more but I also just think it's bad negotiations too, and you've said the same thing, Tom.
Absolutely.
I just think Gary gets in there and just Neil Cornrich just shreds him.
I don't think Fran deserved the contract that he got. I don't think he has earned the goodwill that Kirk has earned. I don't think he hasn't done as well as Kirk has done.
And Mr. Barta is not the only AD that gets shredded by agents.
No, that's what I wrote in my ADs are getting owned in 2 ways right now.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed years on contracts and buyouts.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're just getting owned. And it's not just Gary. You'll see these coaches, 6-7 year deals. Licklider got a 7-year deal. Think about that. Licklider.
I know. It's crazy.
And it really is, but Gary's not alone in that. I don't know what it is when these negotiations take place. It just seems like these ADs feel like they're helpless.
I know, but it just seems weird to me. And
yeah,
I just don't think Fran earned the same kind of loyalty that Kirk has got.
I could agree with that, but I also don't blame Fran for taking it.
Oh no, I don't blame Fran at all. And I hope that Fran comes out and just kicks ass this year.
I do too. Because Fran, when they're winning, Fran's a fun guy to be around. Fran's a fun guy to be around a lot of the time. People just always think that the red-faced guy going nuts, that's a small part of Fran.
Yeah.
Now, he can be, he doesn't like to be questioned on strategy and what have you. He can be sort of dismissive, but that's just his personality. But for the most part, I think he's pretty fun to be around. But like I said, it's way too early to start looking at the big picture with Fran, but I agree with you, Tom. I think the contract, the timing of it, the circumstances, not releasing it, that was just not a good look in every way you look at it.
Well, on Friday there'll be some expert analysis of Fran's coaching strategy for the game tomorrow because I will be there personally, so I'll be able to get a good feel for it. And
you're going to the game?
I will break it down.
I have a prior commitment that Ann and I have a Hawkeye brokerage thing we have to go to.
And I will be breaking it down with you, Pat, on Friday. So
you're not going to the game?
Can't.
You're not even going to watch it?
Oh, I'm sure he'll.
I'll
it.
be.
Oh, you'll tape it?
I won't. Oh, I'm taping it, and I'll also assure you I'll be following it one way or another on my phone.
So you'll be able to break it down on Friday. We'll have a lot of people breaking it down.
Oh yes.
Well, if we win, I will go home and watch it. If we lose, I probably won't watch it.
Yeah, I'm picking them to win barely just because they're at home. I think Iowa State's a better team on paper. I think they've just got better all-around talent right now. But I also don't. I think Iowa State's got some issues too. And one thing I'd say about Iowa State is I sort of question their outside shooting and what have you. I think they're kind of the same way.
I agree.
Wigginton's a great player, but I don't think Wigginton's a consistent.
And he's not playing. So.
And he's not playing right now. So, but no, they do have these freshmen they got are good. And Steve Fromm, in the back of his mind, feels a little more pressure now with Fred Hoiberg unemployed. He's got to. I don't think there's. I'm not suggesting there's any push to get it, but you just got to. He's human. He's out there. But I don't even know. Do you think Fred would go back to Iowa State?
No.
I don't think he would.
I don't.
I really don't think he would.
I wonder, would Pollard be tempted to make that phone call?
Well, not now because they're not struggling. But
Yeah.
at the first sign of trouble, you wonder. I think Fred, if the only way Fred would come back to college is if he got a job at a school that recruits itself, a UCLA, something where he just doesn't have to bust his butt doing it, and where he, between assistants and the name of the school, that does the recruiting.
I think you're right.
And I do think he's got the kind of name to where, well, you saw the story. Somebody tweeted, because I retweeted it, he's interested, he's intrigued. Oh, Jeff Goodman, he's intrigued by the UCLA job, supposedly. And with Alford on the hot seat, that should be an interesting
That would be
development.
interesting,
That
yeah.
would be interesting.
Hello.
Yeah, I agree that if Fran doesn't get the Iowa back into the tournament, that would put him on the hot seat. But the other factor is, in the next couple of years, they've got a lot of scholarships coming open, and if he doesn't recruit better, instead of getting these one-dimensional players, I mean, he needs to get one or two four-star guys that can take their game to the next level. So, talent is a big part of it. So hopefully he can recruit somebody other than a McCaffrey that's highly ranked.
I agree. I mean,
and I'll hang up and listen.
No, I mean, it all comes down to recruiting.
It sure does.
If Fran fails here, it will ultimately because he failed in recruiting. And right now, his recruiting's been hit and miss. And the rankings, I don't think they just need a bunch of good 3-stars. If they just had a bunch of good 3-star players, right now, but they have it seems like over the years they've had too much of one thing, not enough of something else. And let's face it, perimeter quickness has been an ongoing problem. Fran has not been able to recruit much perimeter quickness that also has good basketball skill.
And no, that's exactly right. And I mean, you can look at almost every single player that Fran has recruited here. There's been something wrong with their game. There's been something lacking.
And it's usually athleticism.
Usually.
And when I say athleticism, it's usually the quick burst athleticism, jumping, staying with people on the perimeter. That's usually been the issue. And I guess one of my biggest surprises with Fran is the fact that he hasn't done any recruiting in Philadelphia. I know he hasn't been there for a while, but, I mean, we talk about how I'm just surprised that they haven't had any real success in Pennsylvania and whatever. But, I mean...
Well, to me, it's almost ironic that a guy who was a successful point guard and has been a successful coach can't recruit the position. Or hasn't been able to recruit the position very well.
It's odd.
It doesn't compute.
Yeah. It's odd. And they don't
but yet...
And I'm trying to think of the last time a player from Philadelphia even looked at Iowa that you can remember.
Didn't we have one kid one of the guards that went to Penn State?
Well, Clemson. That kid, he went to Clemson. He was... But just look at us struggling to think of one player in 10 years.
Was Carr from Philadelphia?
Tony Carr was from, yes.
And he looked at Iowa.
He looked at Iowa. He never visited. He gave him some attention, but not much.
Not much.
Fran tried, though. Fran was one of the first guys to offer him. Hello?
Yeah, speaking of Philadelphia, there's a lot of talk where he'll go in and just find a kind of a player in New York, like the point guard for next year.
Joe Toussaint.
There's not a lot of hype on, but he may be a good fit. But those comments that you guys just stated, those are the same comments that got someone suspended. But it's just very factual information about how.
It is. And neither one of us have our checks signed by anything related to Iowa. I mean, if I was working for Iowa, by God, I could lay it on as thick as anybody. But I'm not working for Iowa, and everybody needs checks and balances. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Not everybody can be a homer.
And I'm very supportive of Fran McCaffrey. I hope he's here for a really long time. I support him completely. But the fact of the matter is the recruiting has been problematic.
Well, and you mentioned about checks and balances, and I completely agree with that. But what do you know about any sort of hawk talk, that Fran McCaffrey, I'm not sure where he's doing it at, if he's doing it at Applebee's or where exactly he's doing it now. But
I think he does.
Will Dolphins still be a part of that?
I assume once tomorrow's game kicks in, I think yes, everything returns to normal. Now, Fran did his show last night, but I don't believe, was it Gary hosting it? I don't know. I didn't listen to it.
I don't know.
If anyone listened to it wants to call in, but I assume everything gets back to normal once he gets behind the microphone on Thursday.
I've never listened to Hawk Talk.
Really?
Never.
Huh, interesting.
Where exactly is his Hawk Talk?
I believe it's at Applebee's, and then Kirk does his at Carlos O'Kelly's.
Okay. All right.
The Applebee's in Coralville?
Yeah, I believe so, yes. Right by you, Jim.
I know. I was just gonna
Thanks,
say,
caller.
I should show up for one of those. But
no, he's
days.
right, though. What we're talking about is but, I mean, if I was working for Iowa, I would be not saying this stuff on the air. I mean, I don't work for Iowa.
Oh, well, exactly.
And Iowa's expectation with me is just be fair. I'm not on here saying anything personal.
But I think we are being fair.
But no, what I'm saying, that's all Iowa asks. Now, if I was on here calling the players punks, and I think Iowa would say, hey, listen, we don't like that. We have the right. They could threaten to take away. You have to have a certain level of decorum. Even if you don't work for the university, if you're voicing your opinions, you can't just go out and just get personal with everything. And like I said, there's been times where I've been called a homer because I always say it's not time for Kirk to be on the hot seat. It's not time for Fran to be on. The reason I say that is because it's not time.
No, I agree.
It's just not time.
I agree 100% with you.
But that doesn't mean I'm a homer. And if you write something critical, that doesn't mean I'm a hater. I mean, it just seems like now we're such prisoners of the moment. Anything that happens, good or bad, we just get swept away by that and the possibilities of what could be good or bad. You agree with that?
Yeah,
and I think that's
absolutely.
social media, isn't it?
Yes, everything anymore is now in knee-jerk, and there doesn't seem to be any long-term vision by anybody.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
It's disturbing.
Well, and there's no cooling off period. It happens, you react to it. Whereas in the old days, it would happen, you would think about it, you'd write it out, and before it got published in the paper, an editor would look at it and go, "Okay, what is this good or bad or whatever?" And so but there's none of that anymore. It just goes straight out. And it's not just guys like you, Pat. It's the fans and people who listen.
Oh, I know.
So it's out there.
Well, there's way more fans than there are journalists. So that's. But people are always like, "Well, what's it going to take for us to get rid of Kirk?" It's going to take Kirk struggling for 3 or 4 years, which he hasn't done.
No, which is why he still has his job.
That's why he still has his job.
And he's doing it, I hate the term doing it the right way.
That helps.
But it does.
If you're averaging 8 wins and doing it the right way is a lot better than averaging 8 wins and cheating.
Right.
I mean, and he's doing everything the right way. But the times where he's had issues, 06, 05 ended poorly. Chad Greenway and those guys shouldn't have been 7-5. 06 was a terrible season. 07 was bad. There was a lot of angst midway through that 08 season when that team was 3-3. You were wondering if Kirk was going to survive.
And Kirk was in a little bit of trouble.
And I remember writing about, this is not good. This is almost 3 seasons now of mediocrity. Pressure's building. What'd they do?
Sean Green happened.
Sean Green happened. They won all those games. They won 9 games. Then they won 11 games the next year. He always has a way when his back is against the wall. Tax Slayer, 2014. Things were getting stale again. They were starting to lose. Fans were getting upset. What happens? They go to the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And now if they win 9 games this year, to me, that's going to be more an advantage to Kirk than it is going to be an advantage to the people that want him out of here. That's just how I look at it.
Without question.
So there's no big formula for why Kirk Ferentz has managed to persevere, just because he's won enough games, enough times to stay the course.
Well, remember 3 years ago he was undefeated too.
That's what I just said.
Right.
Well, there's been a level of consistency that he hasn't dipped down below the acceptability
at
line.
Iowa.
Right.
If Kirk was doing 12-2, 8-5, 8-5 at Alabama, he'd be gone. He'd go into that next year. Okay, we need to get back, but this isn't Alabama.
No, it definitely is not Alabama. Hello.
Is Iowa even? Are we even, wanting to take the risk on a new coach?
Which sport?
Which sport?
Above where we would, not want to be, and if we get a new coach, I mean, are there other coaches? There are other coaches that are qualified, but I mean, it's a gamble, and I don't think it's a gamble in the right direction.
Which sport?
Which sport are you talking about?
Football.
Yep.
Right now. But I also don't want to be if Kirk steps down at the end of this season, I don't want, oh, my God, we're going to hire the wrong coach. I mean, you can't think that way either. You got to also be optimistic that they'd be able to hire the right coach. But, no, I'm with you. I mean, it's Kirk's decision right now.
From the aspect of firing the guy. I don't think it makes any sense at all.
No, but it doesn't make any. All we're saying is if they went 5-7 and 7-6 and 5-7, then it would make sense to fire him. But they haven't done that. They've avoided stretches like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we're talking about 20 seasons or whatever, and we can pick out like 3 that.
Yeah, no,
are ridiculous. That's not horrible by any means.
No, Kirk has done a fabulous job.
But now there are fans out there that would disagree with us.
Yes,
and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they're out there. But I say more fans.
I think there's a difference in a fan and somebody that, goes down to the black and gold shop and buys a T-shirt, swears up and down. I always laugh, too, when, if I'm scrolling social media or something during the game or, commercial breaks or something, and I see people posting they're out doing stuff, and they got their Hawkeye gear on, and it's like, don't you know there's a game going on? You got a $140 coat on.
I'm just curious, caller, what would it take in your eyes for Kirk to be fired performance-wise? What would have to happen?
Like you just said, like a
3-year stretch of 500 or below. Okay.
Or, if something came out of the woodwork and we were winning 8 and 9 games or something and he was doing it the wrong way.
Which which would never happen. I just don't think. But,
Exactly.
Every fan, even the most optimistic fan, knows that there is a limit to what you can do struggle-wise. I think, and Kirk's nowhere near that right now.
Nowhere near.
No, not
especially with a
anywhere
chance
near.
to win 9 games. I mean, I know that was disappointing this year at times, but if they win 9 games, to me, this goes down as mostly a success.
And I'd be interested in, I guess this year would be a lot easier to calculate quickly, but, margin of losses, and then do a comparison there with other coaches and similar records and such. And we're usually right there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
All right, thanks.
Yep. No, I don't want people to think that like I said, Kirk, both coaches, neither one are on the hot seat, and neither one should be on the hot seat, and we'll see. I mean, basketball still, there's so much basketball that needs to be played. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, they played 8 games in a 30-some game schedule.
Yeah, and we don't know what Fran's going to do this year.
And
we have no idea.
Right. And even if they lose to Iowa State, it's not the reason to throw in the towel. It's just it would be very disappointing.
If we lose to Iowa State by 30 points, then
that will
can start to be
then you
concerned.
start doing some, what do you call it, introspection
Yes.
or inner reflection.
Yeah.
Then you really have to start to wonder what's going on.
Then Houston, we got some problems.
Now, do you think that fans are anti-Ferentz because of that stretch there where we lost 5 bowl games in a row?
No, I think it's just because he's been here 20 years.
Really? Because I know that
he's been here 20 years and they've won 2 Big Ten titles. I'm trying to speak of the people, and I don't think that's a big group of fans that are that against him.
No, I understand that, but
no, I don't think it has anything.
Well, we haven't won a Big Ten title in 14 years.
Yeah, it's more that. Bowl games, I think it's more what goes on in the regular season.
That's if what the goal is to win Big Ten titles, and I think that's what the goal is. That's a concern.
And there are times from an entertainment standpoint that Iowa's boring to watch. Wouldn't you say that? And I think that feeds into the Ferentz fatigue thing. They're boring to watch. It's been going on for so long and what have you. But the Big Ten title thing, it has been 14 years since they won a Big Ten title. Iowa's won 5 Big Ten titles in 40 years.
We did win the West in 2015, so
that's sort of close to winning, but it's still not winning a Big Ten title.
No, it's not.
Hello.
Hey guys, it's Stubborn Justin. I can't wait to I cannot wait to the Outback Bowl. My prediction is Iowa Hawkeyes are going to win the Outback Bowl.
Really?
All right, you're going down there with Suter and Ann, aren't you?
That's my prediction over Mississippi State.
Aren't you going down there with Tom and Ann?
I'm not, no.
Oh, I thought you were.
But they can invite me if they
want.
They
are. I think they're going to. So I don't want to speak for Tom.
Yeah,
but
it might be a surprise.
They're actually getting a suite, so you have your own bed to sleep in.
I wouldn't wait up.
But that's my prediction.
Well, we like the optimism.
Win the Outback Bowl.
What do you think the score is going to be?
30-0. Iowa Hawkeyes.
Nice. Jeez,
wow!
Just almost like the previous Outback Bowl, 30-3 against
Only the
Florida.
other way.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that sounds great.
We like the optimism.
Yep, I'm a big Iowa fan.
All right.
Okay. Good enough.
Right. We appreciate it.
All right, you guys.
All right.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
God,
I love those. Did you see that little silence there? I love those things.
Because
you don't know who's going to talk.
That's right.
You don't know who's going to break it. You know when Steve's on, he refuses to.
Right.
It really does look like it's going to be a 7-3, 10-7,
snoozer.
13-10 snooze fest.
A snooze fest. A lot of Hawkinson for 6. A lot of Torrin Young for 1.5 yards. their quarterback running for 7 and just getting his bell rung, and just a lot of punt and a lot of Rastetter.
Wow. Well, this
field position,
yeah,
watch,
turnovers.
It's like 63 to 61.
Well, I mean, sometimes that happens too.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I got a couple things. First football, then basketball.
All right.
The football thing is, I don't know what Southern Justin's smoking, but if you want to criticize Coach Ferentz for one thing, it's the recent bowl struggle, and it's embarrassing to get blown out. Rose Bowl, 30-3 by a depleted Florida team, and it wasn't even competitive. And I'm really afraid the same thing's going to happen at the Outback Bowl.
Yeah, see, I don't have that worry this time, but maybe I'm wrong. I can see why you would think that, because, I mean, no, I can
see that was my
Look,
that
there's
was my
no
point.
Christian McCaffreys or Saquon Barkley's playing for Mississippi State on offense. There just aren't any.
And I think these bowl things are a concern, but to me, and I'm with Tom, to me, not winning a Big Ten title in 14 years, to me, is a bigger concern than playing well in 2 or 3 bowl games. That's all I was saying.
Well, and I think a lot of people thought that this was a year that the worst we should have done was 2 losses.
I had them going 8-4.
The games we lost, at least a couple of them, most people think that we should have won them, but we didn't.
Or could have.
And that happens every year. And
Yes.
as a true Hawkeye fan, there's the concern. I listen to Urban Meyer saying, you got to win all the games every year at Ohio State. We don't have that standard here, but I wish it was just a notch higher since we have such continuity in the coaching staff.
No, I agree.
Okay. I got a point to make about basketball.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's a little negative, but for some reason I thought the Michigan State game was on Tuesday, and I'm flipping through the stations on Monday, and there's the game, and we were already behind by 20-some points. And I just kept, I turned it off. And Mr. Suter said he turned it off.
I did.
And
hater.
The danger is not it's apathy. And
Yes.
I don't see this team with the players on it winning very many Big Ten games.
See, I'm
at all.
not. I'm not
I just don't see how you can think that they're going to win more than 3 or 4 or 5 games.
Because I'm not prepared to go there at all. The reason I didn't watch the second half is because I'd seen enough Iowa-Michigan State games in Michigan State to know that I just didn't feel we were going to come back, and I didn't want to watch another blowout.
But you also don't have Iowa winning 13 or 14.
Not in the slightest.
I've got them going like 8 and 12. That's what I had going into the year, and I didn't really change. I thought maybe after they started 6-0 that may be wrong or maybe underestimated, but they still haven't beaten anyone good yet. Oregon is not very good.
No, and I do think we'll get to 7 or 8 wins. I mean,
if you get to 7, that means you're losing 13.
You're losing 13.
I hope you guys are right.
But you've
just
improved
don't-
by 3 over
all of a sudden, I don't see it.
Well,
but
fair
what
enough.
would happen if we did tank and we finished in last place in the Big
He
Ten?
still wouldn't be fired.
He still wouldn't be fired.
I don't believe so, no.
But he would be in a must
win next year.
Next year.
Next year. I don't care what his buyout
Would
is.
he not be fired because of the extension, or because
No, it would
they
still
wanna
be
give him another year?
because within the last 5 years he had been to 2 NCAA tournaments. That's how they would look at it. They would still say the body of work gives him 1 more year, even under those circumstances. But that would be it. He'd have to go into if they tank again this year like they did last year. He would have to go to the NCAA tournament next year, I believe, to save his job.
And I agree with you. And I would not. I would not be supportive of keeping him if he has 3 years in a row.
Well, that would be 4 years. If he didn't make it this year or next year, that'd be 4 years.
But I
ago.
mean, 3 years of 4 wins in the conference.
Oh yeah, you got to go. I mean,
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, there's even a limit to what we think. I'm just saying he's not there yet.
Yeah. The other thing, and it wasn't surprising to me with the Gary Dolphin deal, and how much the support was on his side and not Fran's side. And I think that's a little insight to how people feel about our basketball coach right now.
I think there's some validity to that. And I do. Yeah, I mean, had they been coming off back-to-back NCAA tournaments, I think it may have been some different. I know. I do think that is one of the things that emerged from this. Wow, Iowa fans right now have a little more tolerance for Dolph than they do Fran, and it doesn't help the fact that they've lost the 2 games without Gary. I mean, that fuels that attitude even more. But like I said, if they go 4-16, I don't think at the end of the year Gary fires him. I just think we all know that he goes into next year having to win or he's done.
Unless some deep pocket boosters come up and say, I've got $9.1 million here. I want him out.
Yeah, those are things you can't call. Yeah, if that stuff happens, a lot can change. But I am saying, if they go like 5-15 this year, what will attendance be like by the end of the year?
There'll be a mausoleum.
But I still don't think he would be fired.
No. The amount of tickets sold is still pretty good, and it's still top 25 in the nation.
Well, it's going to be the biggest problem. What if they go 9-11, and then next year they go 11-9? I mean, those are the ones.
See, that's progression, though.
I know, but that they wouldn't make the NCAA tournament either time. That'd be 4 years in a row without making the NCAA. Those are the tough ones. That's what Feeney's always talking about. If John wants a coaching change, he'd rather have the coach just suck, so it's cut and dry. You got to.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say Fran goes.
Well, and fair enough.
Let's say Fran goes 11-9 over these next 3 years and doesn't make the tournament. That'd be 5 years in a row of not making the NCAA tournament. But he's finishing 11-9 and maybe winning close to 20 games. What do you do in those situations?
I mean, except for last year, hasn't Fran finished in the top half of the conference 5 out of the last 6 years? I think he has.
He may have. I mean, I don't know. He may.
I mean, all of Woody's and Gazelle's teams.
Well, yeah, all that stuff is what he still has working to his advantage.
Yeah.
His body of work still tilts in his direction.
It does.
That sounds like a Floyd album.
Danger.
Sorry about
That's
that.
the Pink Floyd from Saucer Full of Secrets.
Is that your ringtone?
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
Is that from Saucer Full of Secrets?
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
It does sound like the start of a Pink Floyd song. For a second there, I thought that's what we were doing. But no, it's there's no urgency right now with any coach. But when you struggle, this is what fans have. Fans can say what they want. That's
you got to win, and there are people who say Fran's got to go already. I mean,
you're hearing.
Oh, sure.
Are you seeing that more on message board or social media?
Message board and Twitter as well. I mean, we follow different people, so.
And what's their argument for he's got to go? What are they basing that on?
Lack of getting enough talent, of the recruiting.
Okay, but then you could counter by saying, well, in 5 of the last 6 years, they've been in the upper half. They've been to the tournament 3. I mean, there's ways to counter whatever fans say.
Absolutely.
But I think with
I'm
Fran,
not one of them.
And I do think with Fran, though, he's been there long enough to where you're starting to see some Fran fatigue.
Well,
he's been there almost 10 years.
No, that's right. And this is his 9th year, right?
Yeah.
That's
a long time.
And people say 9 years, your program should be far enough along where you should be making the NCAA tournament every year.
Here's a date for you.
All right.
April 3rd, 2007.
April 3rd, 2007.
A date that had an incredible impact on the basketball programs at Michigan and Iowa. What happened that day?
At Michigan and...
April 3rd, 2007.
Iowa.
2 press conferences. You got to know by now.
I'm blanking.
Fran's hire?
Nope. 2 coaches were introduced that day.
Licklider. And let's see, who was that? Oh, Beeline.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about how those 2 hires impacted the course of those 2 programs over the last, it's been 12 years now. Think about that.
And Beeline is just, what a great coach.
And had Beeline taken over at Iowa, he would have been successful.
Oh, absolutely.
He may not have been quite like Michigan because Michigan does have Detroit and what have you, but he would have been very successful here, I think.
I do too. And, by most metrics, Fran McCaffrey has been successful here.
Not by Beeline metrics.
No.
Not even close.
No.
What I'm saying, though, is a coach sometimes can make a huge difference. And Michigan right now is probably the premier program in the Big Ten. I mean, they're better than Michigan State right now.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Izzo, well, sure. I mean, they made the finals.
Well, Izzo's had a couple early exits, but right now Michigan is where it's at, and he's not going to be there much longer. Beeline's, I believe, I know he's signed. He's 65, and we've said before, he kind of reminds me of Kirk Ferentz basketball version on steroids. I mean, just a little bit better. But he's very much like Kirk in the way he's very unassuming, very down to earth, very old fashioned in a lot of ways. But man, does he got it going there right now.
He does, and he's
April 3rd, 2007.
Wow.
I forgot that they both happened on the same day. They were both introduced on the same day.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, and Fran took over a train wreck, and that's
the other thing that you got to take into consideration when you're looking at Fran's body of work. I mean, Fran got him going pretty good. He didn't. Everything was better each year until last year, really.
He did have us ranked number 3 in the nation, and then yet we didn't finish well.
He had him ranked 14th a week ago.
Yeah.
I mean, right
basketball
now,
still to play.
I just think when you lose your 2 Big Ten games and you lose them in early December, I mean, kind of a sense of panic comes in, especially after what happened last year.
It's just you've dug a hole already that's hard to...
Well, don't you think also because of what happened last year?
Oh, of course.
Fans are worried about a repeat because it's mostly the same players.
Absolutely.
If Wieskamp doesn't play tomorrow, that's going to be tough. That is going to be a tall order. Macy Daly and Isaiah Moss are going to have really good games if Joe can't play.
So you think the pitchforks and torches are going to be out if Iowa State smokes us by 21?
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow?
But, I mean, you just deal with it. I mean, it's not going to mean like Fran's any closer to being fired.
No.
But, yeah, if they lose, if they get blown off the court, it's going to be torch the earth. I mean, just napalm, just end it all. I mean, coaching changes, fire everybody. It's not just fire Fran with that. It's fire Barta. It's fire everybody. I mean, I get a lot of Barta probably more than I get Fran right now. I get a lot of people just saying we need a new athletic director, and the Dolphin thing fueled that narrative. I'm sure you've heard that too, don't you?
Oh my God, yes. Oh,
but I don't believe Gary deserves to be fired right now. Now, if Fran fails, I don't think Gary should get the opportunity to hire their third basketball coach.
I would agree.
Hello.
Who do you think goes first, Fran, Gary, or Dolph?
Fran, Gary, or Dolph? That's a good question.
That sure is.
I mean, Dolph, health permitting, I mean, he's in his early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Dolph doing this another 5 to 7 years, couldn't you, if he wants to?
Absolutely. But you can see Fran doing it another 10 years if he's successful.
But not necessarily always here. I mean, I could see Fran also leaving, too. I would say, of those ones, I will say Gary.
I agree.
But that's not suggesting I think Gary's on his way out or anything either. I just had to pick somebody. And Gary's young enough, 54, 55, to where Gary could leave for somebody else, somewhere else. But I think a lot of what goes on with Fran's going to depend on what goes on with Gary.
I think if Fran goes, Gary goes. I think the two are
They're kind of joined at the hip.
I think they are.
Gary hired him, and Gary failed with Licklider, so Gary's already got that on.
Well, and then Gary tied Fran to the university with that contract extension.
Yeah, and those extensions, somebody approves those before Gary hands them to the coach.
Absolutely.
So everyone's like, well, Gary, I mean, the university's letting him get away with these contracts. So in their eyes, he's doing nothing wrong. So I don't think they would ever hold that against him because they're the ones who have to approve it, don't they?
I would think so.
I would think the president has to see those contracts before they approve them. So I don't know if that will ever be used against Fran or Gary, because how can you use something against Gary that you approved?
That you've approved, fair enough.
That's why I've never really bought into that. But we'll see. I mean, it does increase the fans' frustration. This will the same people calling into this show will be the people that decide this. If they stop going to the games at Carver and they lose and that arena's half empty, Fran will be gone. Yeah. Same way with Kirk. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Well, it takes care of itself.
2 weeks ago, we were number 14 and 6-0, and
now we're talking about the coach being fired.
The narrative has changed drastically after Monday. Actually,
it really has.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you lose at home to a Wisconsin team that went 15-18 last year. That doesn't help.
And I was disappointed with that, but we didn't shoot well enough to beat them.
No, and I was even more concerned when I turned on the TV last night and they were struggling to beat Rutgers at home. I think when I watched, they were up by 5 with like 3 minutes to go. It was a tough game. Rutgers, I think, is better, but I'm not going to try to make any conclusions about Iowa basketball 2 games into the Big Ten schedule.
Didn't we lose to Rutgers last year?
Bad.
What happens if we win by 25 tomorrow?
Then it's bring on Duke.
Fran
God, his kid's a 4-star.
New
this
contract.
Is great. Get him more years. He's great. I mean, no, that's how it is. That's just because, like I said, I've already read where the Iowa State's game going to set the tone for the rest of the season.
You know, I can't.
That's just ridiculous.
I don't buy that in the slightest.
I can't even remember where I read that. I don't know if it was on a story, a message board, a tweet. That's just nonsense.
I mean, we do need to get going back in the right direction.
No, I agree. But if you lose to Iowa State, but then win your next 2 Big Ten games, Like I said, that Iowa State game's going to be distant memory.
Be meaningless.
Hello.
If Fran could pick one player that he could slap like France does, who would he slap?
I'm going to say Connor because there'd be no lawsuit. Although we may have to answer to Margaret with that.
It's a reasonable question. Yeah.
It is. It is. Wouldn't you say Connor?
I think he'd probably slap
Bohannon
or Isaiah.
Saying
you're too good. Make some shots.
I still think it would be Connor.
Probably.
Just because he's family. Wow, fake Ackerman with her.
That was a compelling.
We've had some good. God, it's already quarter till. I just looked up. We've had some good calls today.
Yeah,
Who would Coach Ferentz slap? Brian, because of the lawsuits again.
But he said a player.
Yeah, that's true.
My guess is he doesn't have any kids on the team anymore. But he does have. He could slap his son-in-law. He could slap his son. He's got some family to choose from. I don't know who he would slap. Maybe Stanley, just because he's the quarterback. And because Stanley hit him with his helmet.
That's
there,
right.
Yeah.
There it is.
He owes him one.
He owes him one. Hello?
Can't say that about Brands because he slapped everybody.
True. No, you're right. I mean, that's the thing of beauty of wrestling. You can do that. And
No, you said it earlier. That's the only
smart.
sport that you can get by with that.
Well, you can't just get by. You get praise for it. I mean, there's video of him slapping him up. Oh, look at Brands, the master motivator. And I have no problem with it. I'm not complaining. I think there's too much of that complaining. I mean, Tom Brands wasn't. I mean, I don't think Tom Brands could hurt Sam Stoll if he tried. But Sam Stoll was coming back from injury. And let's face it, the reason Sam Stoll did that is because he was worried his team was going to lose a duel that they cannot afford to lose perception-wise right now. That would have been devastating to lose in year 2 to Kevin Dresser, especially when you take into account the animosity between Dresser and the Brandses right now. That would have been horrible. He saved him.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I was honestly shocked when I saw
I was
the
too.
score.
No, we got the injury default. That's 6 points. That's big. That's that's 6 points to them that Iowa probably would have gotten 3 points for themselves. So you could argue that's a 9-point swing.
Yeah, and as demoralizing as it was to Iowa, that fired the opponent up even more.
So that would have made it a 28-12.
But still, I thought, that's kind of what I thought it would be, something like that. But it wasn't. But like we've said, if you can have a wake-up call and not lose, that's better. That would have been just a horrible PR thing.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But it does show you that Kevin Dresser's using those. Who's he got? Metcalf over there and Zadok. Those guys are over there for a reason, and you're seeing it come together. And that's just going to force Iowa to have to be better. So, I mean, that's just,
no doubt about it.
So, I'm trying to think. We got everything covered?
I believe we.
I mean, wrestling has a match on Saturday. Then they're not back in Carver for like a month.
Yeah, they're AWOL for
I mean, looking at Iowa State, their program, their programs are on the rise. Wrestling, basketball,
and
football.
Basketball has been pretty.
It is.
Basketball, Iowa State basketball. I'm not trying to. Iowa State basketball has been way better than Iowa in the last 10 feet. It's not even close. It's not close.
No question.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey,
it's Southern Justin. I know you guys are getting out. I know you guys are getting done here pretty quick.
Yeah.
But would you want to hear the lunch menu before I go to work at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, let's do it. I think that's a good way to top this.
Wrap up the show.
This will be the best way to top off this podcast.
You do it, Justin.
Well, today for City High, they'll be having macaroni and cheese with Little Smokies, beef teriyaki nuggets, spicy chicken on bun, personal pan pizza, broccoli florets, orange wedges, frosted cinnamon roll, steamed green beans, sliced peaches, and a Caesar salad. Burlington Iowa Elementary, spaghetti, tri-tater, garden salad to mixed fruit. Osborne Elementary and Burlington Middle School, spaghetti, tri-tater, garden salad, and mixed fruit. Burlington High School, a hot dog and bun, curly fries, baked beans, garden salad, diced peach cup, and apple juice cup. And Burlington Area Mackey, hot dog and bun, curly fries, baked beans, garden salad, diced peach cup, and apple juice cup. That's the lunch menus on the mighty 1630 KCJJ on the All Hawkeyes. Go get your subscription today.
All right.
Okay.
And don't Little Smokies sound good right now?
They
I
do.
haven't had those in a while. Those sound really good.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and go Hawks.
As a physician or staff member treating illness and injury every day, you want to get your patients back on their feet quickly. I'm Stacy Cremines, the administrator at Bounce Back Facility at Windmill Manor. I welcome you to come tour Bounce Back with me. The Bounce Back Facility is one of the area's most complete rehabilitation centers with state-of-the-art equipment. An award-winning staff, directed by Dr. Stan Matthew, Bounce Back really does have the tools for all therapies. Give your patients the best rehab possible. The Bounce Back programs of Windmill Manor of Coralville. Online at windmillmanor.com.
GT Carr, owner of Supple Siding and Remodeling, offers service and quality that is unmatched in the area. At Supple Siding and Remodeling, their trained professionals will install and guarantee the products used in any size job done, regardless of the project. Supple Siding and Remodeling will stand behind their quality products and installation with exceptional customer service. Whether it's a window replacement, a kitchen remodel, or a house addition, our employees are committed to quality. Visit sales at suples.net or call 337-2246.
I'm Patrick Eads, owner of Deary Brothers Ford Lincoln of Iowa City. We know that anybody can sell you a car one time. At Deary Brothers Ford, we believe in providing you with an outstanding ownership experience from a relaxed, easy purchase process with one of our dedicated sales professionals to one of the area's most experienced service departments to keep you on the road. Remember, anyone can sell you a car once. At Deary Brothers Ford in Iowa City, we want to be your dealer today, tomorrow, and always your dealer for life. Let us show you how we take care of our customers. Deary Brothers Ford in Iowa City and online at DearyFord.com. It's a great time to buy a car, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Active Endeavors is your travel and adventure store. Since 1986, their experts have been outfitting travelers with great apparel and equipment from Patagonia, Eagle Creek, Osprey, and more. And with winter coming sooner than you think, check out their wide variety of coats, boots, and winter clothing from Patagonia, Arc'teryx, Smartwool, Icebreaker, Sorrel, and Keen. Everything you need at competitive prices, spread out over 5 floors. Active Endeavors, under new ownership, same great management, and still locally owned. 138 South Clinton Street, downtown Iowa City.
Hey, Hawkeye fans. This is Iowa Wrestling National Champion Spencer Lee. Thank you for your support and congrats on being named #1 in attendance again last year. Carver Hawkeye Arena is always wild during wrestling season, and it's because of you. Check out HawkeyeSports.com or call 1-800-IA-HAWKS for ticket information.
If you are looking for creative, eye-popping graphics, look no further than Zephyr Sign and Graphics. Zephyr specializes in vehicle graphics, posters, indoor and outdoor banners, stretched canvas signs, vinyl, plastic, or frame metal yard signs. Call Zephyr Signs and Graphics at 351-3500. That's 351-3500. And as for the large format department, for incredibly creative and effective signs and graphics, stop by Zephyr Signs and Graphics in the heart of downtown Iowa City's Ped Mall at 125 South of Butte Street.
There's a problem here in eastern Iowa. There's not enough Hawkeye fans. I mean, really, shouldn't everybody be a Hawkeye fan? Well, maybe not, but you should be a fan of my team at Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson, and my team of experts at Hawkeye Title and Settlement know what they're doing. Call us at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
Over the years, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys on the market today. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, sidewinder, and remote-headed keys. If you've lost the keys to your car or simply need a duplicate, call 330-9185. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars has the technology to keep you on the road. Call 330-9185 and schedule an appointment today.
More and more we see people coming in that do have allergy problems, that are looking for solid surface floors, and we take that to the next level with the Healthier Living installation. We get some pretty neat reactions from people. I'm Brad Stork with Bachmeyer Carpet One Floor and Home. We're doing that same thing that we used to do only in carpets, but doing it for all floors. We go through and we do a HEPA filter vacuuming throughout the entire area. Then we go through with a antibacterial, antifungal spray, and then we install your floors. What it does for you as far as removing allergens and everything, it's fantastic. A Healthier Living installation has been approved by doctors. It's one of the biggest things you'll ever see in flooring as far as your comfort in your home. We try to make sure that we offer things that no one else can give you. Bachmeyer Carpet One in Coralville, 3402 Merchant Street, across from Tyson's.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios, in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
We are going to join CNN, which is airing the funeral of George Herbert Walker Bush. Currently speaking is the former Canadian Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney.
Which is, in my judgment,
the greatest democratic republic that God has ever placed on the face of this earth. I believe it will be said that no occupant of the Oval Office was more courageous, more principled, and more honorable than George Herbert Walker Bush. George Bush was a man of high accomplishment, but he also had a delightful sense of humor and was a lot of fun. At his first NATO meeting in Brussels, as the new American president, he sat opposite me, actually, that day. George was taking copious notes as the heads of government spoke. We were all limited in time. But you know, it's very flattering to have the President of the United States take notes as you speak. And even someone as modest as me threw in a few more adjectives here and there to extend the pleasure of the experience. After President Mitterrand, Prime Minister Thatcher, and Chancellor Kohl had spoken, it was the turn of the Prime Minister of Iceland, who, as President Bush continued to write, went on and on and on and on, ending only when the Secretary General of NATO firmly decreed a coffee break. George put down his pen, walked over to me and said, "Brian, I've just learned the fundamental principle of international affairs.